Hey guys, so what I want to share with you today is how I work my 2-year-olds in the turnaround program. This is Josie. She's a red hot cat 2-year-old out of a Playgun mare, and I've had her since the end of January, beginning of February. And what I'm going to do for you today is I'm just going to work her like I would work her any other day where she's at, teaching that turnaround. So let's get started here. She's kind of warmed up. I trotted her around for 5 minutes, so now we're going to show you what we do here. Okay, so first thing is, when I start my horses right from day one in the turnaround, is I want to touch that neck rein and then I point that nose. And in the beginning, there's not a lot of leg I use to ask for that shoulder to step across. I'm not worried about what this is doing, what the hind end is doing right now. I only want that shoulder to step across like that. So I'm going to add that neck rein, point that nose, get that shoulder to step across. If I only get the inside step, that's fine for now with that inside foot. But really I want this outside foot. I want to feel that outside foot come across and step before I actually release that rein, like right there. Now she knows enough of this that she is stopping her hind end. But what if she wasn't stopping her hind end? What would I do? I wouldn't focus on that. I would just keep asking her to turn or step across herself until that hind end did stop, like right there, and then I'm going to release. So your turnaround is always going to be a forward movement, especially in cow horse. I mean, in the reining it is for sure, but in the cow horse, because we do our cutting turn so much, and these cow horses want to step underneath themselves with that front end or that outside front foot, it's a little bit more difficult for us to get that turnaround as nice as a reiner would, because we do so much. We got 2 events in the cow work and only 1 reined work event, so we're going to do that cow turn twice as much as the rein turn. So it's really important for me and my babies to learn or make sure that they're going forward, and then I ask for that step across. So now if I ask for that step across and she keeps walking forward, or I feel that hind end kind of going to the outside or still moving on her at this stage, I'm just going to keep holding that rein across there till I feel that hind end quiet down a little bit. As soon as it quiets down, then I'm going to let go of that rein, release. So if you have a horse at home that you're working on and you're teaching this, some horses, when you actually apply this rein pressure like this, they don't want anything to do with it, or they're just not going to move at all. It's just not enough pressure for them to want to do something different with their feet. So what do we do in that case? We're going to add some outside leg. So if I have my reins set up here and I'm saying this is where I want you to go, like right here, she's not really turning for me, I'm going to start pushing that outside leg in her belly until I get that response right there. So we want the first cue to be the neck rein, and then a little bit of nose so that she's looking in the direction we're going. Not too much. I don't like that horse's nose so bent. I don't want to pull them in the turn. We actually we just want to push them in the turn from the outside rein, outside leg. If they trot forward, no problem. Just keep asking until that hind end settles down and then release. So I do this for their whole 2-year-old year. I don't frame one up. I don't mess with their face trying to get them here and get them soft and put them in that frame or that collection and try to jack those shoulders up in their 2-year-old year. The program for my turnaround is very basic until we get to the end of the 2-year-old year, beginning of the 3-year-old year, when they're really solid in that maneuver. Good girl. You heard me cluck there a little bit. So with her at this stage, she knows where the footfalls are, so I can ask her a little bit more and ask her to stay in that spin a little longer. But what I would like to really emphasize for you guys at home that are trying to teach your horses or your babies how to spin is just getting that 1 step at a time. 1 step is all I need right now. Neck rein, point that nose, get my step, release. Neck rein, point that nose, get that step, release. And the more confident that horse is in stepping across and they're finding that reward, the easier it is to get them to actually stay in the spin and keep going. So all I have to do to keep her going now, because she's so solid with that, is just hold that neck rein across longer and just wait on her to go longer. And now she's still looking for the right answer, and she's thinking, I'm doing the right thing. How come you're not letting go? And I'm saying, just a little longer for me, please, and then I'll let go. And that's how we keep one going in that turnaround as a baby. One step at a time, one good step, release, neck rein, nose, release, neck rein, nose, release. So because of where she's at and what she knows, I would like her to be a little crisper with her movement. So when I ask for that step, I don't want it to lag behind anymore. I give them a chance for a long time in teaching them where that step is. But where she's at, if I neck rein her and she doesn't take that correct step right away, now I'm going to use my leg. My leg is the reinforcement of my neck rein. The leg is not the reinforcement of my direct rein, it's the reinforcement of my neck rein. So at this stage of the game, if I in one hand just apply that neck rein and push that foot, there, she should keep going. I shouldn't have to pull that rein at this stage, the inside rein, to keep her going. And you see when I apply that neck rein, she actually bends her nose to the inside because I've done it so much. And I haven't done it so much in spin, 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 spin. It's been one step, one step, one step, one step. It's very boring teaching the spin, but if it's done right, there's a huge reward for the trainer or rider at the end of the day too, because the horse actually wants to be in the spin and they're comfortable in the spin. So like I mentioned earlier, I don't, at this stage, about 6 months and 2-year-old, I'm not going to put them in that frame, collect them up. So you can see she's really relaxed with this maneuver, and that's why she's dropping her head. And some guys would say, jack that head up, so you jack the shoulders up, or hey, get that head picked up. Reiners, that's where their desired position is, because reiners have found out that the more that back is round, that top line is round, the more that wither is picked up and the faster they can go and the smoother they can go. And sometimes as cow horse people, we just think, lift that head, lift that shoulder, lift that neck, but that's not physically how the horse's body works. We know now better that lower head, the better, as long as they're not pulling down. If they're pulling down, those shoulders are in the dirt. That's way worse than having that head coming up. But for now, it's just about natural head position, and all I'm focusing on is front feet. Neck rein, push that foot, release, good. Now at her stage, at Josie's stage right here, not only do I want her to keep going if I ask her to, 1 or 2 spins is fine, but I would like her to actually move those shoulders just a little bit quicker. So what am I going to do that? So she's very secure, solid in when I move my hands this way, the shoulders follow my hands, and I've waited long enough over the training program for this to stop and her to know that this is only shoulders. My hands only means shoulders, not the hip. So now if I want her to go a little bit crisper with those shoulders, a little quicker, I'm going to add a little bit of outside spur. So I'm going to put my hands here, and I want it a little quicker, then I just roll my spur in her belly, and as soon as I feel that quickness, good girl, as soon as I feel that quickness or that sharpness, like definition, I want to release that spur right away. Timing with your spur, way more important than timing with your hands. You can kind of pull on one a little bit, get one lifting its head, they'll forgive you in the hands, but you put a spur in their belly and they pin their ears and swish their tail, and they don't like the spur in their belly. So for me, the timing of the spur coming out of the belly is the most important part of this. So I'm going to ask her with my hands, push my spur for some speed, and release right there. Good girl. Now, if I ask with my hands and she gives me that speed or that lightness I just had, I'm not going to put my spur in her at all. Good. A little quicker there, but I had to use my leg. I'm always giving her a chance. Here's neck rein first. Okay, now that was pretty light right there. And I want her to know that if I move my hands over and you're that light, I'm not going to push my spur in your belly. And I'm going to teach her, I'm going to promise to her that if she responds to my hands lightly, the spur's not coming. But if I ask you to go just a little bit lighter, quicker, and you don't respond, then the spur is going to come. So I didn't use any spur there, even though she made a mistake at the beginning of the spin. I just let her find it. One thing I always keep in my mind, you guys, in the whole 2-year-old year, or the whole first year of a horse's life in their program, being a cutter, cow horse, reiner, whatever discipline it is, the first year of training, that first 12 months for me is teaching stage. It's never schooling stage. If it's bad behavior, maybe a bit of schooling, but it's 99% teaching stage. So no matter what mistakes they do, I'm just teaching the horse. I'm trying to get into their mind. What are they thinking? How can I get them to think the direction I want them to go? Whether it's forward, back, left, or right, but it's all teaching. So I want to make sure I keep that in my mind when I'm on these young horses or green horses that, hey, don't get after one if they're not doing it right, because we got to put that whole first year as just teaching. Just see if we can get it correct and a little bit better. And then as they know everything and they're very solid in their maneuvers, and that's a good year. Some horses a little quicker, some a little longer, but year is a good general rule of thumb to teach all the cow horse maneuvers. After that year, we might be able to start schooling or asking them for more speed, because they might want to get out of work or try to cheat you here and there when they actually know exactly what that maneuver means or what that cue means. So I'm never going to scare them or school them at this stage right now. That's a good girl. I don't mind that head position at all. I find that with the young horses or the babies, when they get relaxed and they drop that head and they really find some security in that spin, in knowing what to do off my cues, that when I ask for speed later, that head naturally picks up anyway. So I'm not too concerned about it. I'm only concerned about how those front feet are working. Well, she's really connected to the spin right now. Good girl, good girl. I mean, for me, as a 2-year-old, 6 months in, that's light for me. I don't need much more than that. I got another year before we're even thinking about shows to make that spin a lot better. You heard me clucking there. So I will start clucking sometimes before I even put that spur in to see, because in my program, any type of clucking means speed. So if I cluck on her and she's going, and maybe she doesn't go, then I might add that spur in the belly and say, cluck means spur. So not just the rein lightness, but if I want some more speed when you're in that spin, the cluck means spur's coming if we don't speed up just a little. And that's all it is right now for her, is just a little. I love how light she is. One hand right here. Now, you saw right there, she got into that spin. My rein was stuck on her, but she come out of that spin. Well, what do we do in that case? How do we keep them in that spin? Say they give us a half a good spin and they start walking out. Well, you can't do any more with your hands because we don't want to pull any harder. And that's only going to lift that head and make them a little bit more worried in that face. That's not the cue to keep them in that spin. I'm already asking and saying, this means stay in the spin. If she walks out of that spin, all I'm going to do is press that foot in her belly. And then as soon as she gets back in that spin, my foot comes out of the belly. Good girl. Good girl. I've had some of the highest headed horses, and I've taught the spin without messing with their face like this, and they've become the lowest head horses. I just think that when a horse starts going, where they start knowing where you want their feet to be, and they're really relaxed with that maneuver, I just find all the horses want to drop their head and neck and relax anyway. Not too worried about how low that goes. Right there she left, so I'm going to roll my spur. Okay, good. Ask for that again. Ooh. Good. So there, she didn't just leave, she actually kind of wanted to kick her hip out a little bit. What do we do in that situation? It's the same thing. Because my rein's already on there to say stay in that spin, if the hip starts leaving, and remember, this is why it's important not to put your leg on in the spin, because the leg is saying you've done something wrong, or let's do it a little bit faster or better. So if I go to neck rein this horse and I hold her in the spin and that hip kicks out, all I'm going to do is push that spur in her belly, make it uncomfortable that the hip is moving, and as soon as that hip stops, I take the spur out of the belly, like right away. So that she knows, like, when my hip's moving around, I'm wrong because the spur's in my belly, And as soon as my hip stops, he takes the spur out of my belly, so that must be the right answer. And that's all we're doing. We're training these horses, we're training the brain, not the body. Sure, if their hip kicks out, I could physically kick their hip back in, but that's not doing anything for the brain. I want her to learn where to put her hip. And the only way she's going to learn is through comfort and discomfort. The hip kicks out, it's going to be uncomfortable. And when the hip stays still, then it's going to be comfortable. Good girl, Josie. Good girl, Josie. So let's just ask her for a little more speed. Only because this is a training session, even though I'm explaining what I'm doing, I would like to see if we can get her to spin just a little bit quicker now. Good. Okay, so it was kind of dull there in that first spin. As you can see, when I asked for speed, her head picked up. And I haven't asked her for much speed yet. I've just been working on footfalls. So asking her for a little bit more speed, she really didn't give me anything until the last couple steps. And that's very important for me, that when I feel that speed increase, I take the spur out and I stop and reward. I want them to know that when I'm clucking and that spur is in there, still, you're doing something wrong, or I need you to hunt your way out of that pressure, and that's going to be speed now. Very good. Good girl. Good girl. Good. So that was excellent right there. I laid my neck rein on. She didn't jump off of it, but when I clucked before I put my foot in there, she went quick. She just picked up that speed right away. So I want to reward her for that. Like I said before, the spin done right can be so rewarding. But if I was, and I could just put her into frame and kick her around and make her spin. She might get afraid of it. She might start rearing up and running away. She might do a bunch of different things. Her footfalls might not be as solid. And she's just not going to be relaxed in that maneuver. Remember, we're always trying to make these maneuvers their idea. And the way we make a horse think it's their idea is through, we fix up the pressure, and as soon as they make that change, we release the pressure. And then when we fix up that pressure, as soon as they make the change, we release that pressure. So I'll show you what I mean by their idea. So I fix up the pressure, and she's there. I drop my reins, now she stopped. I'm going to fix up the pressure, now she's there. Okay, she stopped. Fix up the pressure, stop. Fix up the pressure, stop. Fix up the pressure. Oh, beautiful. So you couldn't see it there, but I dropped my hands and all my cues right there, and she gave me a half of a spin on her own. That's her idea. So even though I added the pressure, every time she made the right choice, I released it. Then when I released it, she started making the choice on her own and said, I'm going to keep going. That's making it the horse's idea. Good girl. There you go. That last couple steps was on her own right there. Good job. Got a reward. Let's try that again. This is just the spin is just a rinse, repeat. Very good. Good job. It's just a rinse, repeat cycle. Just ask, repeat. Good. So as you can see, when I lay the neck rein on her neck and push that outside leg on, she's already looking the right direction before I even pull. But I'm still using my inside hand to open it up a little bit because I don't ever want her thinking that she can get too straight or looking to the outside. So the shape of the spin still has to stay to the inside. Now, I like my horses to spin really straight, but in the beginning here, I'm going to make sure that we have a little bit of arc, a little bend to the inside of that circle, and point that nose. Very good. I'm going to quit there. That was really good. I think she got really soft, really light for me there. And yeah, I'm going to quit that side anyway and quit the video. I'm going to work on the other side while you guys are off partying, and I'm going to get working here. So thanks for watching, you guys, and hopefully that helps a little bit.